welcome to Info Hub. In our headlines, President reiterates need to keep Caribbean a zone of peace, greater resilience needed to cope with climate change effects, and Internet Week Ghana gets online Monday. Stay tuned for the details of these and more. And now for the details. Guyana and Cuba today held a commemorative ceremony to mark the 41st anniversary of the 1976 Cubana air disaster. Details from Crystal Stull.
President David Granger at the memorial today reassured the world of Guyana's commitment to maintaining peace.
Guyana reassures the world of its commitment to making the Caribbean a zone of peace. Guyana remembers today the victims of the Cubana terrorist attack. We assemble annually before this monument to memorialize the human cost of international terrorism. Guyana honors the memory of the martyrs of the 6th of October 1976. We shall never forget them.
11 Guyanese, 57 Cubans, and 5 North Koreans lost their lives in the tragedy. Granger said in honoring those killed in the 1976 terrorist attack, the Caribbean as a whole should aim towards maintaining peace.
The Caribbean today must cease being a theater of warfare and terrorism. The Caribbean must become a zone of peace. But this objective can be realized only if international law and the sovereignty and territorial integrity of small Caribbean states are respected. Guyana rejects totally the use of force to settle international controversies.
The Cuban ambassador Julio Cesar Gonzalez Mercante expressed Cuba's commitment to stand against acts of terrorism.
May serve this commemoration to reiterate Cuba's unwavering will to fight against terrorism and to express its firm rejection and condemnation of all terrorist acts, methods, and practices in all its forms and manifestations, regardless of their motivation, including those in which there are states.
The ceremony was also attended by ministers of government, members of parliament, chief of staff of the Guyana Defense Force, members of the University of Guyana, and members of the Diplomatic Corps, among others. Crystal Stull for InfoHub.
A call for greater regional resilience was made at the Council for Trade and Economic Development's 71st special meeting, which opened at the CARICOM Secretariat. Paul McAdam tells us more.
CARICOM's Secretary General, Ambassador Erwin Rock, sounded the call, citing the effects of climate change and the damages caused during the recent hurricane season.
Never before have 2 Category 5 storms or hurricanes ravaged the region in one season. Never before has a hurricane moved from Category 1 to Category 5 inside 36 hours, as Hurricane Maria did. Events like this are likely to be the new normal and provide proof positive of the reality of climate change.
Minister of Agriculture Noel Holder assured of Guyana's readiness to ensure food security and availability for the region.
We have adopted a multi-sectoral approach to ensure that all stakeholders play a meaningful role in addressing the key pillars of food security. These are availability, accessibility, utilization, and stability. While we continue to face challenges, we have implemented and sustained various initiatives which support the integration of efforts to address food and nutrition security. These initiatives address all 4 pillars of food security. Food availability continues to be a plus for Guyana, as food is available in all types and quantities, facilitating our status as a net exporter of food.
The one-day meeting, chaired by Minister of Agriculture, Animal Husbandry and Fisheries of Suriname, Suresh Algo, examined several issues. These included the region's agricultural policy framework, trade, public health in addressing non-communicable diseases, and the common external tariff, among others. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
The Public Infrastructure Ministry is fulfilling its promise to improve Georgetown's drainage network. More from Gabriela Patram.
A team employed by the ministry is in the vicinity of Main and Newmarket Streets wrapping up the final stage of emergency drainage works implemented earlier in the year. Community Coordinator Nielsen McKenzie.
It's a busy and thoroughly congested commercial block. It has a 2-phased approach. One is the cleaning and desilting of the roadside drains, and then there are some underground culverts generally.
The works started October 1st and runs for the next 6 weeks. Mackenzie pointed out that regular maintenance will be undertaken.
We want to ensure that the input would be made would be effective, and to have that made effective, it means that the initial work has to now be followed up with a maintenance phase. So we are putting our minds towards putting together a maintenance package which will support the initial work that was done.
The team of workers has 1 supervisor and 12 staff who will work from 7 a.m. to 1 hours 30 p.m. daily, according to contractor Joseph Williams.
Weeding of the parapets, clearing of parapets, cleaning up on the drains, on the bridges, and cleaning the tunnel, and take away the debris.
Works have already been completed in Old Boys Town, Queenstown, North and South Rhineville. Gabriella Patram for InfoHub.
At least 80 nationals to be flown home from hurricane-affected islands as 4 more containers with relief supplies set to depart. Zanil Williams has this report.
The containers of food and water supplies costing some $18 million will take approximately 12 days to reach the island. Prime Minister Moses Nagamutu and Minister of State Joseph Harmon commended the private sector for their partnership with the government in aiding Caribbean-stricken hurricane territories.
We are very elated that we are having this type of response from the private sector in particular and from the broader Guyanese society, and their understanding that in this time of need, nothing is too much for Guyana.
At today's post-cabinet press briefing, the Minister of State commended local commercial airlines for their assistance. Upon returning, these persons will be residing with relatives or at the Hugo Chavez Rehabilitation Center.
Only in cases where we are unable to locate relatives to accommodate those persons will we be dealing with providing facilities. Now, these facilities, as I did indicate, are basically at the Hugo Chavez Center, as well as there are some facilities that are provided by the Guyana Relief Council. Those, as I said, will be dealt with based on the specific needs of those individuals, and government, you can be assured that government will be lending as much assistance as necessary to ensure that they are comfortable.
The shipping of containers with food supplies is the first phase of Guyana's efforts to aid the hurricane-affected countries. The second includes shipping containers with building materials. Private company Bulkan Timber Works will be shipping a container of 100% Greenheart lumber on October 7th to Dominico. Company executive George Bulkan.
These natural tragedies are acts of God, and while unfortunate, Guyana as a whole stands ready to supply and help these in humanitarian and business-wise. We stand ready to help the rebuilding effort in the Caribbean.
Zanil Williams reporting from John Finance War for InfoHub.
Guyana's changing dynamics prompted an Inter-American Development Bank portfolio review. The Inter-American Development Bank's Senior Vice President, Julie Katzman, is currently on a visit. Speaking with InfoHub at a cocktail reception, Katzman said the visit is to review the IDB's portfolio with Guyana and areas for continued collaboration.
We talked about what's coming in oil and gas and how best Guyana can benefit from that. We talked about how to continue to accelerate the execution of loans in our portfolio. Our head of infrastructure was here this week as well. He met with the Minister of Infrastructure and talked about some of the things we can be doing there in the future and the portfolio that we have now.
Finance Minister Winston Jordan noted that the meeting highlighted several issues, challenges and solutions.
One of the problems we have really is that we inherited a significant portfolio from the previous government. And this portfolio has in it a number of projects that we will call ill-conceived or virtually dead projects. And so we have loans, for example, that were approved since 2012. By the time we got in, they hadn't moved virtually not 1 inch in terms of disbursement.
As a result of this, some of the resources were lost while others were reprogrammed. He noted that one such loan involves the widening of Sheriff Street, which he thinks should not be prioritized over health and education issues. The money will now go to the housing sector between the catchment area of Sheriff Street and Mandela Avenue. This visit, he believes, stems from a speech he made at the IDB where he called for out-of-the-box thinking.
The world is a dynamic place, and very often the banks and the multilaterals have to respond to the changing dynamics in their member countries. And one of the dynamics that's changing again is that we have a new administration 2 years on, but we have a new administration after 23 years. So our priorities are different. Our focus is different, our vision is different.
The IDB executive representative also met various government ministers and visited several IDB projects. A telecommunications agency is being established by government. Here again is Zanil Williams with the details.
At Friday's post-cabinet press briefing, Minister Joseph Harmon noted that the agency's establishment is the first phase in the Telecommunications Act of 2016's implementation.
This phase being implemented from October 1 to December 31st, 2017 will involve the formation of the agency as a body corporate in accordance with the Act, as well as a number of essential administrative and organizational activities, which will include staffing of the agency and the finalization of licensing procedures in preparation for liberalization and new licenses to be issued to telecommunications entities.
Minister Harmon disclosed that at the end of the first phase, the agency will be able to absorb the National Frequency Management Unit's function. It will also have the capacity to deal with the regulatory functions outlined in the Telecommunications Act of 2016. Zanil Williams reporting for InfoHub.
Local and international ICT experts to participate in Internet Week activities to be hosted at the Pegasus Hotel from October 9 to 13. Gabriela Patram tells us more.
The local business community and other stakeholders will benefit from the sharing of knowledge and expertise as international ICT experts participate in the annual technology conference to mark International Internet Week 2017. At a press conference Friday, Public Telecommunications Minister Catherine Hughes said the ministry will be hosting the week of activities and explained the importance.
We need to ensure that as many Guyanese as possible, and here we're talking about individuals that are in the industry, the private sector, entrepreneurs, students, whoever it is. We're looking to provide a baseline and opportunity to garner information on a series of up-to-date issues and activities that are taking place in the telecommunications industry and in the ICT industry.
Ministerial advisor and head of the ministry's Industry and Innovation Unit, Lance Hines, added that information about the Internet's back end will also be provided.
How it works, how is it governed, what's the kind of policy that is used to govern it every day.
On Friday, the 13th of October 2017, a youth day will cater for secondary and tertiary level students. Gabriela Patram for InfoHub.
InfoHub's Paul McAdam now tells us that Guyana is developing its sports tourism potential.
Speaking at the second sport tourism workshop held at the Guyana Olympic Association's Liliendal headquarters, Social Cohesion Minister Dr. George Norton expressed his pleasure with the efforts being made to establish the sector's foundation.
We indeed have the potential to put Guyana on the map on a positive light. And Guyana should be, if not one of, it should be the most go-to sports tourism destination in the Caribbean. And we can only achieve that if we have conferences like these and we contribute towards the outcome like you're doing here.
According to the Minister, sport tourism has the potential to contribute locally to the economic, social, cultural and infrastructural development. The Minister also approved the standard operating procedures used for sport tourism events and the convening of a sport tourism action group. Director of Sports Christopher Jones explained that the workshop was in response to the first, which led to a document being drafted. It was noted that the seminar will assist in the realization of the sport tourism policy. This workshop was a collaboration of the Department of Tourism in the Ministry of Business and the Department of Sport in the Ministry of Social Cohesion. Paul McAdam for InfoHub.
Thanks for watching. Remember to connect with us 24/7 on our website and social media. Goodbye.